Good morning, YouTube. This is Trevor and Tony. I'm here in Tanzania. So today we're going to talk about domestic violence in Africa. The prevalence of domestic violence in Africa, exactly how common it is, the countries I've been to where people are complaining about it. The reason I wanted to even make this video is because when I get on live streams or I'm talking about Africa, even on social media, people have this general misconception that women in Africa don't have any rights and are living in fear of men. Men are just tyrannically attacking women, beating them, torturing women in Africa. Pretty much that is the general consensus for a lot of people when they think about Africa and relations in Africa. I was even told on a couple different occasions that Black American men come to Africa just to abuse women because we can't do it in America and this is the only place we can do it. I don't even know who makes these misconceptions up. Personally, I believe it is Western media, because when you go online and you search domestic violence in Africa, the first thing that comes up is a statistic from WHO, the World Health Organization, about domestic violence from 2005, saying that the ranges in sub-Saharan Africa, where I'm located, is from 36% of women to 71% of women. That is a really broad range. And it's like, how are you guys conducting these studies? From what I see as a person that actually lives here and interacts with the people on a daily basis, has immersed myself in their culture, accepting and learning new things from their culture, I can say that this is untrue. Women are not being attacked just willy-nilly by men just cause on a normal basis. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all. Yes, domestic violence is something that happens globally. But just to say it's indicative to sub-Saharan Africa, that's baseless. Something else I want people to keep in mind. When you're performing research on these countries, you're doing it in English. So you're getting English written articles. You're not doing it in the local language to see what the local people are saying. When you come here, you talk to local people, they'll tell you, yes, it does happen, but it's not normal, and you will go to jail if someone calls the cops on you for that. It's not like they're like, oh yeah, you can just beat them and it's cool, it's a normal way of life, like how the Western media is portraying it. I'll even give you a first-hand family story here in Tanzania about domestic violence. So here it is. Man takes woman with child. He has another child with this woman, gets married. She's supposed to be a housewife. They know the gender roles. There's a certain way things work here, and that's just how it is. The man is the breadwinner, the woman stays home, takes care of the children. The man also provides extra money for business and things of that nature to build generational wealth. Africa's all about generational wealth and taking care of the next generation. Now, when said woman and said man agree to this, it's agreed how things will work. Boom, it's flat on the table, everybody understands. Now, let's say this woman decides she doesn't want to be a housewife anymore. She's just gonna go to the club, sleep with random men, just do crazy stuff while her man is in the mines working and leaving the children unattended. Now, in a situation like that, it is probable that the man is going to lose his cool and maybe slap the woman. That does happen. Now, when he does that, if she calls the cops, even if it's a slap, even if she's not harmed, he's going to jail. And now we're going to talk about traditional women. So with traditional women, they usually have a mother and a father. They're very close with their families. They are not just going to let you beat up on their daughters. It is not going to happen, especially when you're dealing with successful traditional families who have government ties. You will be in for a world of pain that you don't even understand or comprehend. So if you think you're going to come here and put hands on women just because you want to. It is not going to happen. You are a foreigner. It's not your country. You have to stay in your place. Even the local men, like I said, they will go to jail for 3 or 4 days if you stole, let's say, the equivalent of $200 from somebody, man or woman. You will go to jail. If a woman hits a man and she's like beating the man and he calls the cops, she's going to jail too. It's equal. Now, the difference is domestic violence doesn't leave a stain on your life, your permanent record, like it does in the West. It's something that happens. You served your time, you paid your dues or whatever, your fees. Because yes, you can pay to get the charges dropped and things of that nature. Yes, that does exist. That is true. But it's going to cost you. Nobody wants to just keep paying money, because if you don't have the money to pay, you're going to sit your ass in jail. Like I said, in 2 years of living in this country, or in these countries from South Africa to East Africa, I have only heard about 1 or 2 domestic violence cases, and they all ended with the man going to jail and having to serve his time until it was resolved and he was allowed to go back home to his family. But usually it's the wife who goes to get the man out, and they resolve their issues and they work it out. You know, people just see the negative, but they don't see the work that these people put into maintaining their family values and structure. One of the worst things in Africa is for a family to break up. They want to keep families together and thriving. That is the main goal of a conservative society, to conserve family values. So my final word of advice is, don't listen to everything you see on social media about Africa. Don't believe all those articles about these countries written in English. It is most likely untrue. I'm just going to be honest. I've traveled around the world looking at blogs, getting information from blogs about countries, how it works, living there. It's false. Most of the information you're going to see online about these countries are false. They're not really from first-hand perspectives. A lot of the blog writers are just accumulating information, compiling information that they find from various different sources about these countries, and are saying it is law without actually spending time there, significant time there, or they're there for such a short amount of time they do not have a grasp